Welcome. Today we're going to tell you some stories, not just any stories though. These are tales woven around real-life photographs. Each picture hides an unsolved mystery, something unsettling that might just linger with you long after you hear it. Think of them not just as images, but as, well, fragments. Fragments of perplexing events that still baffle people today.
That's a great way to put it. Sometimes one single photo, just opens the door to this vast unknown. It fixes a moment, sure, but often raises so many more questions than it answers. It pulls you into these unexplained things.
Okay, let's start with this picture. At first glance, it might just look like a car accident. You see this pale green 1985 Oldsmobile sedan. It's reversed kind of awkwardly into an old boarded up house. But believe me, the backstory here is chilling. This image becomes something else entirely once you know what happened, or rather, what didn't happen. This car belonged to Brianna Maitland. She was only 17, living in Montgomery, Vermont. And back in 2004, she vanished. Just gone. Her car was found like this, headlights still blazing, backed into this abandoned place called the Old Dutch Burn House. It was about a mile from where she worked. No sign of Brianna. And the weird part, her driver's license, 2 uncashed paychecks, they were still inside the car. But some of her other stuff, it was scattered on the ground outside, like she left in a huge hurry, or maybe was pulled out. And then you find out that back home, her clothes, her ATM card, even her migraine medicine, makeup, contact lenses, all left behind. Definitely points to something unplanned. That's some sudden.
And this is where the initial response really complicated things, possibly tragically. The trooper who found the car, he just assumed, drunk driver. Crashed, ran off, standard stuff, maybe. So, because the house is empty, the car wasn't really treated like a major crime scene right away. And Brianna lived alone, so nobody actually realized she was missing for several days. Agonizing days. Her poor mother only found out about the car almost a week later when she filed a missing persons report. That delay, that initial assumption, it cost them critical time. Made finding clues so much harder. Police pretty quickly started suspecting foul play, though. They thought maybe more than one person was involved in taking her. The big question is still, was she ambushed right there in her car? Or was the whole scene staged to look like an accident? And some people even point out the timing. Maura Murray, another young woman, disappeared just 90 miles away, only a month before Brianna. Is there a connection? Nobody knows for sure.
And digging into the day she disappeared, there's this really unsettling incident, adds another layer of mystery. She was out shopping with her mom, Kelly. Brianna saw something outside the store, stepped out for a second, said she'd be right back. She didn't come back in. Her mom found her in the parking lot. And Kelly said Brianna was visibly shaken, unnerved, and agitated, just really upset. Brianna wouldn't say why, just that she needed to go home, get ready for work. That was the last time Kelly saw her daughter. What did she see outside that store? We still don't know. Later, there was this anonymous tip, claimed Brianna was being held in a rented house nearby with 2 crack dealers. Police raided the place. They found drugs, yeah, but no Brianna. What's kind of disturbing is that her friends later admitted Brianna had, experimented a bit with drugs recently. Does that make the tip more credible? Maybe. It's hard to say. And then things got even darker. An anonymous letter arrived claiming Brianna was dismembered, fed to pigs. Horrific stuff, never proven. Her parents got these awful phone calls too, anonymous, claiming she was tied to a tree or at the bottom of a lake. Just cruel torment.
It's just a cascade of confusing information, isn't it? The initial mishandling, the anonymous tips, the friends' confessions. Investigators were always behind. Was the crash an escape? Was it staged? We just don't know. There was even this potential sighting in 2006, CCTV footage. A woman who looked a lot like Brianna at a casino in New Jersey, but it led nowhere. Another dead end. It's a case that really sticks with you. Shows how easily things can go cold when those first hours are lost.
Okay, let's shift from that cold Vermont road to another story, another family gone missing, and it starts with this one single photograph of a little girl. This is the last known photo of Madison Jamison. Her whole family disappeared back in 2009. The family Madison, her mom Sherilyn, and her dad Bobby, they drove just about 30 miles from their home in Eufaula, Oklahoma. They were headed to a place called Red & Co., Loma, supposedly looking at some property. Days pass. They're reported missing, and after a search, police find their truck. Abandoned, it was locked. But inside, the keys, their GPS, and get this, $32,000 in cash. Their dog, Maisie, was also inside. Alive, thankfully, but really malnourished. Both parents' cell phones were in the truck, too. And this photo of Madison was found on her dad's phone.
Right, that's just the start of the puzzle. They searched the mountains extensively, nothing, for 4 years. Then in 2013, a hunter stumbles upon skeletal remains. 3 bodies, side by side, just 3 miles from where the truck was found. It was them, the Jamison family. But the condition of the remains, it was so poor, an autopsy couldn't determine a definite cause of death. officially is listed as unknown, which, leaves everything wide open. The family firmly believes they were murdered. Sherilyn's mother even mentioned a religious cult theory, and there's this detail: Bobby's skull had a hole in it, unexplained. Some see that as strong evidence of foul play. As for the photo of Madison, her expression, is she scared, uncomfortable, or just caught mid-sentence? It's impossible to tell for sure what's happening in that exact moment.
And leaving aside the discovery of the bodies for a second, the parents' behavior leading up to the disappearance. It was really strange, wasn't it? Getting stranger over time.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't sudden. Witnesses described them as becoming almost trance-like, paranoid. It gives you a glimpse into their mental state, which was clearly deteriorating. Both Bobby and Sherilyn had lost a lot of weight, looked emaciated. There's even CCTV footage from the day before they left, showing them loading the truck, kind of like zombies, just shuffling around. Very odd. Sherilyn had told friends she was seeing ghosts, that places were haunted. And Bobby, he'd apparently told a priest who was reading a satanic Bible, wanted special bullets to fight evil spirits. Really intense stuff.
Wow. So, with all that going on, what did the authorities think might have happened initially?
Well, given the rural area and the bizarre behavior, they first considered meth use. It's known to be produced out there. But no trace of drugs was found, not in their home, not on their remains. So that theory didn't really hold up. This leads to other ideas. Witchcraft. Maybe linked to that cult theory Sherilyn's mother mentioned. It's all speculation, really. We also know both parents suffered from depression. And a long, hateful letter from Sherilyn to Bobby was found in the truck. That adds another layer. But here's the real kicker, the thing that makes it so confusing. Sherilyn's handgun was missing from the truck. So was it murder-suicide? Maybe, given the letter and her state. But then, why take the dog? Why take $32,000 in cash meant for a property deposit? That doesn't quite fit. On the flip side, if they were murdered, why would the killer put Bobby's phone back in the truck? And why leave all that cash? It makes no sense. The fate of the Jameson family is just a profound mystery. But this picture, it gives us this one last chilling look at little Madison.
Okay, this next photo is from 2014, and it is just plain unnerving. It was taken by a foreman. His job was just to document the dismantling of a military frigate in dry dock. Simple enough, right? He took hundreds of photos, sent them off to his boss. Then the boss calls back or emails back, sends one photo back with a question: who's the guy with the axe at the edge of the camera flash? You zoom in, enhance it, and yeah, there he is. It's really disturbing. The foreman insisted he hadn't seen anyone. That ship was supposed to be totally empty, deserted. And this photo was taken deep inside, pitch black. The foreman used a flashlight, right? Turned it off for the flash photo, then back on. Which means this guy with an axe was just standing there in the complete darkness the whole time the foreman was nearby. That's deeply unsettling.
And it gets weirder. Nobody who worked at the dock recognized this man. Nobody. Plus, it being a military ship, they did a thorough search afterwards, top to bottom. Found absolutely no one in the final piece. Security cameras, only one exit. The camera covering it showed nobody leaving. It's like he just vanished. Poof.
So who was he? This guy with the axe. What was he doing lurking on an empty, dark ship? We have the photo, but absolutely no answers. Just chills. All right, let's move to something from the internet age. Reddit. The unexplained photos subreddit, actually. A user, Maverick, posted this. Said his friend got a new motion detector camera, the kind that links to your phone. So one night, the friend leaves the camera charging in his bedroom. He and Maverick go out to the pub. While they're out, friend gets a notification on his phone. Motion detected. Back in his house. Oh! And this is the image that popped up. Now, what makes this really bizarre, according to Maverick, is that his friend lives way out, like middle of nowhere. And he owns an Alsatian, a big dog that apparently would have gone nuts if anyone actually broke in. But nothing was taken from the house in the camera. It didn't detect any more movement after this single picture, just this one snapshot.
Yeah, so you immediately start thinking, what could it be? Homeless person maybe, looking for shelter, an intruder who got spooked. Or, given the lack of explanation, some people jump straight to paranormal, an entity of some kind. If you look closely at the enhanced image, it does seem physical, like a real figure. But who? Apparently, the house was searched later. No sign of any intruder hiding anywhere.
So the question just hangs there, right? What did this figure want? Just wandering into a dark house, middle of nowhere, setting off a camera, and then nothing. Vanished. It's creepy. Okay, next up, a real puzzle. This one's for the code breakers listening. Someone posted on the subreddit, Crow Crimes, and the title was just bizarre. A string of letters and characters seemed totally random, and it came with this picture. Which is, a bit eerie looking, but without context. Nobody knew what to make of it.
Until another Reddit user, Kaleo, had a look. Pretty clever, actually. Recognized it might be a cipher. Kaleo used something called the Caesarean shift. It's a simple substitution cipher, basically shifting letters in the alphabet. In this case, it was plus 13. So A becomes N, B becomes O, and so on. Applying that shift to the random characters unlocked a message, and it was chilling. Jean-Baptiste Herman, metadata correct. Now, Jean-Baptiste Herman, turns out he was a real person, a man murdered back in 1969.
Yeah.
And the killer, a guy named Frederick Moses McCallum, whose picture was the profile pic of the Reddit user who posted the coded message. Very strange connection. And that phrase, metadata correct. What does that even mean? Does it imply there's more hidden info in the image file itself, more data to find?
And it didn't stop there. The same user posted again.
Yeah.
Another random string of letters and numbers. That one, when deciphered, just translated to the word Archie. Archie. What does that mean in this context?
Exactly. It leaves you with so many questions. Is this some kind of confession? A really elaborate riddle? Maybe an ARG, an alternate reality game? And how does the unsettling photo tie into the murder from 1969 and this guy Archie? We just don't know. The true meaning is lost, maybe intentionally. It's a weird digital breadcrumb trail.
Okay, for our last story today, something a bit different, maybe less overtly creepy, but definitely mysterious. We're talking about the Leatherman. This guy was a real figure, a traveling vagabond seen between roughly 1856 and 1889. Why the name? Simple. He wore the suit, handmade, entirely out of leather, all the time, summer, winter, didn't matter. And he walked this incredibly precise circuit. 365 miles between western Connecticut and the Hudson River. Took him exactly 35 days. People along the route knew him, knew his schedule. He'd arrive at the same towns, same houses within hours of when they expected him, year after year, like clockwork. But he was incredibly reclusive, barely spoke, mostly used gestures, grunts. When he did talk, it was broken English. And if you asked about his past, conversation over, he'd just clam up or walk away.
It's really quite astonishing, his discipline. People would offer him food, which he'd often accept, but he always refused shelter. Didn't matter how bad the weather was. He preferred to sleep in caves, these little rock shelters he knew along his route, even through brutal New England winters. Nobody could figure out why he lived like that. Doctors at the time thought maybe some emotional affliction, but ultimately they decided he was of sound mind. So the conclusion was he chose this life. This extreme nomadic existence was his choice. That self-sufficiency is just remarkable.
Eventually he passed away, found along his route, and on him they found a French prayer book. That's the main clue to his origin, likely French or French-Canadian. But despite that clue, and research then and now, his actual identity, still a complete mystery. His grave is marked with just a simple brass plaque, the Leatherman. It's almost hard to believe, isn't it? This silent man walking the same perfect circle year after year, leaving almost no trace of who he was.
Exactly. And being judged of sound mind makes it even more fascinating. It wasn't necessarily illness driving him, but a conscious choice. A radical kind of independence. It really speaks to how these local legends, these figures who live outside the norm, capture our imagination. He left such a mark even though we know so little. In fact, Leatherman Multi-Tools, they were actually named after him, shows how his story endured, this enigma walking the woods. His silent legacy is powerful.
So there you have it. 6 stories, 6 unsettling mysteries, each starting with just a photograph. From Brianna Maitland's car to the man with the axe, the Reddit codes, the Leatherman. Each picture opens a window, but the story never quite finishes, does it? Leaves us with so many questions.
Absolutely. And maybe that's the point sometimes. The enduring power of the unexplained. These stories, these images, they remind us there's still so much unknown out there. Things that defy easy answers, captured forever in a single frame. Makes you think.
We really hope these stories got you thinking too. Maybe wondering what you might have done or what could have possibly happened. Thanks so much for joining us on this little journey into the unknown today. If you enjoyed these unsettling tales and you want to hear more, please do us a favor like this, share it, and definitely subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs. We'll be back very soon with more chilling mysteries for you to explore. Until next time.